Jamie, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm going to get this. Okay, so thank you. All right, so we have Moira on the call. I've told you guys all that I am so excited about this. Moira was really one of the first coaches I started kind of checking out and stalking, if you will, and really resonated with her story. And so I have really just since day one just been admiring you, and I'm so honored that you are here to talk to us. And she is a superstar coach, an elite top 10, number 5. She just went on the trip to France, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing. All-star legend, mom of 2. And I'm just so excited to kind of let you take over, and afterwards, if we could do a little Q&A whenever you're done. And if you guys have any questions or start to think of things during the chat, then just write it in the chat and we will make sure to answer it when we're all done. So I'm going to stop my share screen. Okay. And I'll just let you take it away.
Awesome. Wow, you guys, I'm so excited to be here. You know, Jamie was on my team call last week and freaking crushed it, or this week, last week. Oh my gosh, was that like a day ago? Or no, that was last week. My world is a little crazy right now with back to school. And, you know, I will always give time to anybody that, you know, it's like, it's a win-win for all of us. And I think I just want to kind of start with my story, because so much of like what I've done is just, you know, told by telling you guys my story. So I started coaching 3 years ago. Before that, I was a Pilates instructor, and so much of like, I think why I've been successful is because of my past. Not that I came here with any skill set or anything, but you'll kind of hear why I think that. But I had been a Pilates instructor since I was like 21. So backstory was I was an athlete when I was younger. I struggled with addiction. I got over like alcoholism and drug addiction and picked up a food disorder, you know, disordered eating for years and years and years. And so I was like in this health and wellness world, and I was still struggling a ton myself, and always looking for the solution, and always trying like every single diet out there and every boot camp and trainer and Orange Theory and Blast and like every single exercise phenomenon to come down the pipe, you know? And I just struggled. Like I felt like every woman that I knew struggled, and I always taught private Pilates. So I knew my clients really intimately, and it was the same struggle, like everywhere I looked. And I always had that belief that if I ever found the freaking answer, like it would become my life's mission to help other women. Never did I think I'd be a Beachbody coach, ever. I had actually been on track to go to med school, full ride, the whole 9 yards, and kind of threw it away with my debauchery in college. So I was even having a hard time for a lot of years, like being just a Pilates instructor. You know, I was like, oh my God, I was supposed to be a doctor and I'm a Pilates instructor. And, but I opened up my own studio because I've also always kind of been entrepreneurial, meaning like I've always had to work by myself because I'm too strong-willed to work for other people. Like we butt heads. I can't do that. And so I had the studio for years, and it was awesome. And it really allowed me to grow as an entrepreneur, but it also allowed me to do what I loved, and that was health and wellness and helping people. And then I kind of hit a wall. I had kids, and I hit the wall that like every new mom hits. Like, is this my only purpose in life? Like to, you know, continue to be a Pilates instructor for the next umpteen years and like change diapers and clean the house. And so I struggled in that for years. Like, what is the meaning of my life? What is the purpose? What am I going to do? And, you know, do I even want to be in Charleston, South Carolina? Just like, you know, all the life questions. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, do I go back to, you know, get my degree in nutrition? Do I go back and pursue medicine, which seemed crazy at 30 years old? And I just didn't see an answer, because the thing that I came closest to doing was getting a degree in nutrition or doing Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And my husband and I would sit down and he'd be like, okay, so you're going to stop teaching. So we'll lose that income. We're going to pay for you to go back to school, which is going to take forever because we have children. And maybe in 5 or 10 years, you'll get a degree and you'll make less money than you are teaching Pilates. Like, great idea, you know? And I was just like, oh, like, I just don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And so I decided to open up a cold pressed juice company. And I had a passion for health and wellness and, nutrition and cold pressed juice and raw food and all the things. And I just really wanted to like teach people and that entrepreneurial thing, like, why not start a business? Why not make a go out of it? I'm always the type of person that will take a chance. I never want to be the person that's going to look back and say like, what if? So we launched this juice business. We take out like an obscene amount of money to do it because we didn't do it on a small level. And it was awesome and fun and exciting. And like, I had to learn how to press juice. I had to learn how to start a juice company. I had to deal with employees and insurance and, all the legal stuff to do with that. And it was fun. And like, I thrived on that. But when it's your own business, you don't make any money, like none. Like you can't make money in a small business in the beginning. You're in it for at least several years before it starts to pay you back. And at about the 2-year mark, I was at like rock bottom. I didn't realize I was at rock bottom, but I was stressed out to like the max. And I guess my kids were probably 4 and 6 at that point. And I wasn't at any class plays. I wasn't in their classroom. I wasn't dropping them off for school. I wasn't anything that I envisioned I own my own business. I can make my own schedule. I was at the mercy of that business, and my marriage suffered tremendously for it because I was just really, really difficult to live with. And so that business owned me. And I had gone out to California for this juice company training, and I randomly got introduced to a friend of a friend. It was actually about juicing, but she happened to be a Beachbody coach. And she was a rock star, meaning like she was just like the epitome of what I thought was cool. She was like kind of this yogi Southern California girl who like taught all these workshops and did all this like holistic stuff. And she asked me to join your challenge group. And mind you, I was still struggling with food. I was still not finding a solution with fitness. And so I said, absolutely, because I tried every single thing out there. So I joined her challenge group and it was awesome. I did the 21-day fix. And I was kind of like, whoa, like, how am I like getting in better shape and feeling fitter in less time? I've gone to the gym for the last 15 years for hours a day. Like it blew my mind. And she planted the seed to coach, but you guys, there was no chance in hell I was ever going to be a coach. Like that was great for her, not going to do it. And so for a year, as I continued in my juice company and she took off with coaching, like took off to become an elite coach and make 6 figures and do all the things, travel, have this tribe of women, have this team of people she was working with, like live her best life. My plane was like going down as hers was going up. And I didn't realize it at the time, but everything that I was trying to create with my business, she was creating with coaching. Everything, the tribe, the community, the impact, the income, all of it. And so every month or two, she would suggest coaching. I would not even sign up for the discount. I was like, I am very strong-willed. I was like, you're not talking me into that. You're not backing me into a corner. There's red tape. I'm going to be screwed over in some way. And I wouldn't listen to it. And she just always was there to coach me. She was always, a soft place for me to fall because I was falling apart. And the last time I went to see her, I actually met her in person for the first time. So we knew each other. We were very close after a year, but I had never met her in person. I brought her this piece of art that said "Dream Big" in gold lettering and like gave it to her because I was so excited about her journey. And she brought up coaching again. And I was like, this is when I was hitting rock bottom. And I was like, if you had any idea what my life looked like, you would understand that there is no possible way I can do this. Like, how many people tell us that? Like, I've probably talked to 25 people today that are like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm going to school. I've got a job. I can't do this. I don't have the money. My boyfriend and I just broke up. Like, that was me. But this is what happened. And this is, I think, important because I need to even remember this. I left coffee with her and I went back to my girlfriend's house. And when I walked in the door, there was another friend of my friends there. And she introduced me. And I was talking about just meeting this girl, Meredith. And she was like, the girl said, I'm a coach too. And I was like, you're a coach too? Like, what is everybody coaches out here? And she's like, oh my God, I just do it on the side. I have like 3 small babies. And if I didn't coach, like I would lose my freaking mind. Like it's my sanity and it keeps me fit. And that's all I needed. I needed my sanity, and I needed something that was going to help me, and what Meredith, my coach, told me, she said, Moira, you will let yourself down again and again and again. You've done it your whole life. But if you had to show up for other people, you're not going to keep falling off the wagon. You will stay the course. And it was insane to me. Like, it was insane. I was like, you're telling me I need to be a coach when I am a catastrophe. Well, here's the really neat news. I think the biggest catastrophes make the most successful coaches, because I had plenty of room to transform. I signed up a coach not that long ago, and my husband's like, oh my God, you signed her up? Like, this friend of mine that's like a fitness professional, her life's like amazing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think she's going to do much though, because she's got her shit together. Like, on some level, we fall in love with coaching when we change. And when I decided to sign up as a coach, I came back to life. I all of a sudden had to show up for other people. I all of a sudden was in this community of women that uplifted me and were super positive and, suggesting that I read this book and read this book and read this book. And they just became my family, and I was so inspired by them. But I'll tell you that for 4 months, I hit Success Club by the skin of my teeth. And for 4 months, I didn't get in a training. I didn't get on a team call. I didn't do anything, because I was not going to be a Beachbody coach, and no one on this planet was going to know that I had signed up to be a Beachbody coach. I mean, when I say I hit Success Club, I asked my best friends. I was like, I just signed up to do this. Like, we should do it together. And that's how inviting starts. Like, when new coaches come in and they struggle to hit Success Club, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you're just asking your best friends to go to a boot camp class with you. Like, that's what you're doing in the very beginning. You're not like going on Facebook, inviting to your challenge group. Yes, you can do that, but I didn't do that. I was just talking to the people that I knew and I loved. And I was saying, dude, this thing that I'm doing freaking works. You got to do it too. And so that's how I hit Success Club those first few months. But again, like, I knew nothing about coaching. So I thought, as much as I was trying to invite, like, on the DL, I was like, this is so hard. And I'm talking to so many people, just like all of we all say. And then I finally made a decision. So it was July 6th. I remember the day. It was July 6th, 2015. I randomly got on a team call. I clicked a link when I was scrolling Facebook, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I popped onto a team call, and I like ran in the other room and muted it. And I was like, what is this thing? And I listened, and Josh Spencer was the guest speaker that night. He used to be the #1 coach several years back. And Josh just shared a story, and something was different about that call. And I had been like stalking YouTube story top coaches those 4 months and getting like reeled in. And like, the more I listened to stories, the more my limiting beliefs were crushed. I was like, they're only making that much money because they got in at the beginning. Or she only makes that money because she looks that way. Or she has this and I don't have that. Like, every single thing that we all say. And the more stories you listen to from top coaches, you start to know them, and you start to realize there is nothing different about you or them, except they put in the time and they put in the hustle, and they decided to be teachable and learn the things, And so I started to really get that. And that night when I heard Josh speak, he struck a chord, because he spoke about how many lives he was able to change through coaching. And I had done that at that point. I had my best friends come to me in tears, thanking me for doing really nothing but cheering them on and giving them a solution. And I had never made that kind of an impact in people's lives. And so I wanted more of that. And here was Josh, who was able to change thousands of people's lives. And then he kind of told his like business side success story. And it wasn't until that night that I truly realized the potential of the financial opportunity. I kind of thought like top coaches made 6 figures. I didn't realize that Josh went from like, living on government assistance to making over $1 million in 2.5 years. And what the real story is he didn't know anything. He didn't do anything except work his butt off. And I know if I can do one thing, it's work my tail off. I had done it. I had done it with the juice business and not gotten paid for 2 years. you know? So I had that ability. And at that point, I made a decision. You know, everyone says like, what changed? Well, I made a decision. And I made a decision that I was going to go for it. And I wasn't going to look back. And I was going to say, screw the people that are going to judge me, because I live in the South. And I knew people were going to talk smack about me. I knew it. And they did. And some of those people are my elite coaches now. And so the town talked all they wanted to talk, and I went for it because that actually fueled me. You know, you have to take your biggest fears and let them be your fire. I decided, you know what, if I'm going to do this, watch me rise to the top, watch me crush it, and watch me help all the women I can help. And so I made a decision. And when you say like, well, what changed? I made a decision to be teachable. I got in every single team training. I got on every single call. You know, Jamie said it last week, like she's listened to every single national wake up call there is. Like I just became a sponge, but simultaneously I worked my tail off inviting people, because you can get lost in trainings and train for 5 years if you wanted to and not sign up one person. You know, I would put the training on hold if I had customers to talk to, if I needed a follow up, if I needed to invite. And so I just hustled. You know, I hustled like I never hustled before. And I broke through all those limiting beliefs. And I really just got to that pivotal question. I remember like sitting in this room thinking, okay, God, you just presented me with everything that I could have ever wanted for myself. Like this is the path. But I didn't like the package it came in. I didn't like the Beachbody Coach package. But was I going to be the fool that, because of fear of judgment from others, decided to not take a chance on every dream, every success, everything I wanted for my own life and my family's life? Was I going to not take a chance on that and just live the rest of my life in fear of what other people were going to say about me behind my back? And so I jumped off the cliff and said, fuck them, you know, I'm going to go for it and prove them wrong. And so that's what I did. And I started, you know, from that month forward, I hit like SC 40 and up, I think. And here's one other pivotal thing, like the struggle, you know? So if you guys are thinking like you've had it rough or you've struggled or whatever it is, like that is the power that you own. If I hadn't struggled like I struggled and found a solution to those struggles with Beachbody, I wouldn't have the balls that I have to take on the judgment, because I care more about other people than I do about what people are going to say about me. You've got to care more about other people than you do your own ego, you know? And I have to get over my damn self every single day and put up a post where I'm going to get judged. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. And reality is like, no one's like judged me up and down. I mean, I've certainly dealt with judgment, but I'm not saying like you have to take on severe judgment to be a Beachbody coach. But it's scary. It's still scary for me to talk about some stuff. It's still scary for me to put things out there to the public. But I do it because I know that there's somebody else out there like me that needs me to do that. You know, I put up that income post that Jamie shared. Like, talk about judgment. If there is ever anything that goes so far against the grain of who I am, it is sharing my income. My parents would freak out if they knew I did that. My whole family would probably freak out. Thank God most of them aren't on social media. And I know that a lot of my friends are like, oh my God, that's like horrible. But I also know there's a me out there whose family's life is going to be forever changed, because that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because I needed that. My coach put out an income post, and it was right at that pivotal point where I was deciding. And I needed to know that she wasn't, you know, a yoga teacher turned Beachbody coach that was making 30 grand coaching. I needed to know that she was making $8,111 a month. I remember the post that clearly. You know, I needed to know that this was real. And I remember when my coach put out that post, I would scroll back hundreds of pictures to find that one image she posted. I mean, hundreds. She's a Beachbody coach. She has lots of photos. And I would find it, and I would just look at it and like think about it. And I would sit there and think, I don't really think she has anything that I don't have. Like, I think that, you know, she's just worked hard. Like, I think I can do this. I think I could And I would sit there and think like, oh my God, if I was making like $8,000 a month, my life would be so freaking radically different. And so, I decided to go for it. And one thing that I got really clear on in the beginning, is listening, one of those like YouTube stalking videos I was watching. Lindsay Matway had a video. I should probably try to find it because I've referenced it in like every speech I've ever given on summit stages, on leadership stages, on everything. She said, you need to ask yourself, if you had all the money in the world and all the time in the world, what would your life look like? Because the reality of the situation is this journey can afford you that life. And I went home that night because I am very teachable, as strong-willed as I am. When I want to be teachable, I am teachable. And I asked myself that question and I wrote it down. And this is the thing that I've done for 3 years straight. I have read that vision. It's literally right here in this book. It's like attached to my body almost at all times. I read it every single day. And I can tell you the power of reading it every single day. So don't listen to this advice and be like, gosh, that was a great call. She was really passionate. She had some great ideas, and then not put anything into action. It is the single biggest thing you can possibly do for your success. Because if I didn't read that every day, I wouldn't do the work. I wouldn't be motivated to put in the work that I don't want to do. I wouldn't be motivated to invite when I don't want to invite. I wouldn't be motivated to call back that person or respond to those messages at midnight. Like, I do it because this vision that I have for my family and my life is at stake. And I will do whatever it takes to make it happen. So you've got to get clear on your vision. I think your vision is different than your why. I think your why, my why was like kind of a one sentence trite little thing. My vision involves like, what does my life look like? Who are the friends that I have? How do I spend my day? How am I giving back to my community? What does my marriage feel like? What do we do in our spare time? Where do we travel? What kind of team am I building? What do those women look like? Like all the things. Like it's deep, it's deep, but it's not deep. It's deep, meaning there's a lot of detail, but I'll also tell you that I've like drilled this into my team for 3 years. And I read my vision to them last January at our diamond retreat. And it was hilarious because they were like, that's it? Like, that's the vision you've been talking about for 2.5 years? I'm like, yeah. And they all thought like it was this flowery, poetic, like amazing thing. No, it speaks to me. It speaks to me and gets me to wake up and do the work every single day. So you guys, one thing that like, Jamie asked me, she's like, can you talk about inviting a little bit? And here's like the bottom line that I've done since day one, since I should say month 4, day 1, when I actually made a decision. I started to talk to way more people. And that pivotal point for me came when I was sitting in my very first Super Saturday. It was Team Cup. And so the winner of the last Team Cup was like on the video from, corporate. And the girl had Success Club 143, which back then was like unfreaking heard of. And I remember sitting in my chair and I was starting to dream really big. I started to think like I could be a top coach. I can make that amount of income. I can have that kind of success. And I was hitting Success Club 6. And I sat there and I thought for a second, I bet it's coaches like her that are top coaches. I bet it's coaches like her that are making 7 figures. It's probably not the coaches that are hitting Success Club 6. And so I knew I needed to change the game. And what I remember asking myself very clearly that day was, if someone gave me $1 million at the end of this month of August, could I sign up 70 plus people and match what she had done? And I instantly knew I could. I instantly knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, if someone, you guys, this isn't like fluff. If someone offered every single one of you $1 million at the end of September and said, if you signed up 70 people in September, I'll give you $1 million, you would make it happen. So where's the disconnect? I started to think differently. I started to ask myself better questions. I started to think about groups of people. I started to talk to every freaking person on the planet. I started to like talk to the grocery store checkout girl And like, she kind of hates her job. She's miserable. She tells me every time I'm in here, like, I need to plant the seed and invite her to a coach opportunity call. Like every single person, every single person that I could possibly speak to, I invited into a challenge group or the coach opportunity. Did I hit SC 70? No, I hit SC 40, but that continued because now I finally understood what it was like to talk to a lot of people. I've always said you have to invite at least 100 people to hit at Success Club, minimum. You might skate by your first 2 or 3 months with inviting like your sister and your best friend and your brother and your best friend's husband. But at some point, you have to talk to a lot of people. And I know it was scary for my coaches to hear. And I tell my brand new coaches, you got to invite 100 people to hit Success Club. And they're like, that's terrifying. It's not. The more you do it, the easier it gets. The other thing that I always tell my team is do not invite 3 people a day. That is like fingernails on a chalkboard painful. That is like ripping a Band-Aid off as slowly as you possibly can. The first 3 invites I do, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, what time of the month it is, what time of the year it is, it's not easy. But when I get to number 25, I'm like, just throwing them out there. It is so much easier to invite 25 people a day than it is to invite 3. And if you invited 25 people a day, Monday through Thursday, you could be done inviting for the whole month. And that's what motivated me in the beginning. I had that number in my head. I have to invite 100 people to hit Success Club or higher. And so I was like, I don't really like this inviting part. Everything else about this job is like rainbows and butterflies. And I want to do more rainbows and butterflies. So I'm going to get my inviting done as quick as I possibly can. But I also understood enough that that was the most important part. Because most people go straight into rainbows and butterflies all day long. They get in their team page, they get in their challenge group, they do a training, they post some stuff on social media, they redo their Facebook banner, and they spend 8 hours working, and they haven't invited a single person. You might as well not do anything else. If you're not inviting, none of the other stuff matters. You have to invite. So I always invite first thing in the morning, like get it done, move on with my day. First thing in the morning, I get it done. And so the reality is, and this is the reality I think for almost every new coach, it's hard, it's a struggle, and you have to tell your coaches the reality of this business, because if you don't, they're going to feel like failures. We all do. I did. Like, this is so hard. I'm talking to so many people. And, the reality was I was talking to like 8, and if someone had told me it's never going to happen if you're talking to 8 people, like how many coaches come in, talk to maybe 10 or 20 people, and then decide to throw in the towel because they don't think that they can do what I can do or what Jamie can do and what these other coaches can do. It's because they're not doing what we do. If they did what we did, it would happen. You've got to know like what your numbers are. You've got to track your business. So like when coaches come to me and they're like, what I really want, I've hit Success Club for the last 8 months, but I'm just getting by with Success Club 6 every month. I really want to hit SC10, Moira. I'm like, how many people are you inviting a month? And they're like, well, like if you're not tracking your business, I can't help you. If you told me you were inviting 122 people, guess what? I'd say invite 244 and you'll hit Success Club 10. This is really easy math. But it's not easy math if you don't have the numbers for your business. And I know I've talked like a lot of numbers, and this is, some of you guys probably saw me speak at Summit, and that message and that talk was so like from my heart and my mind, because what Ruth Trotter and I led on was this is half heart, half vision, half all that inside stuff that like gets people going. And it's half numbers and half business. Like you have to have both hats if you want to be really successful in this business. You have to, like, you've got to deliver the numbers and the hard stuff to your coaches, but you also have to talk to them about vision and about why they're doing this, and your challengers, all of it. I feel like I was going to say something else and I totally lost it. Do you guys have any, Jamie, do you have any questions right now?
I mean, I know you've built like a really strong, like amazing team of women. And I feel like, I don't know if they're all from your, like close to your town or whatever, but how do you feel like you've built such a strong team? And I mean, we're all very new. I just think all of us in general, we have a pretty awesome big team so far. But I think, you know, at least for what my coaches are struggling with, I haven't seen their numbers. I'm not really sure, but I do know that they say it's really hard to find coaches and to get people to understand, you know, the vision and just be building their teams. And I think obviously I try to tell them that that is the biggest part of the business is building your tribe.
Yeah. So perfect. That was actually what I wanted to talk about. So here's how my business started. I started hitting really high Success Club numbers, which for me was like 30 or 40, you know, and I was super excited and I started to get like all this love and recognition. Like everybody on my big team was like, meaning my uplines team was like, oh my God, Moira, you're crushing it. Like you're at the top of the Success Club board every week. And I felt like a freaking rock star. And my coach called me one day and she was like, all right, great. Like I've given you all the recognition. You need to start building a team, because I hadn't signed up a coach. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. None of that. No, I'm not going to do that part of the business. That's that pyramid thing. No interest, no desire, not going to happen. And she was like, okay. You know, she always like just probably rolled her eyes at me. And then I saw a graphic, and I don't even know where that graphic is, but it clearly kind of graphed out that the difference between making, I want to say it said $250 a month versus whatever $1,000 a month, $8,500 a month. So $250 versus $8,500. So the difference between, you know, a $12,000 a year or a six-figure year. The Success Club points were the exact same. It was SC5, SC5. I thought I was killing it because I was an SC40. The difference between the $12,000 and the six-figure earner were number of coaches being brought on board. And it was a wake-up call. I was like, oh, I'm never going to make long-term income by signing up challengers, ever. You know, it's great. It's fun. It fills my heart. I like to help people, but I need to start building a team. And so I decided to start building a team. Now, where that team came from was me signing up discount coaches, challengers as coaches. You know, that's, you know, we all do that. But it all came from my challengers. So the only thing I started to shift in the beginning was speaking belief into my challengers. Like, girl, why are you not doing this with me? You are doing more in the challenge group than I'm doing. You need to become a coach. And my challengers started to have success. And so this is what I always tell my new coaches too. This is it can be an uphill battle. If you come into Beachbody and you don't really change physically from the workouts and you don't really dial in the nutrition, so like physically your body's not changing that much, you're not really reading PD, so your mind's not changing, who's going to really want to jump on board with that? You know? And so I am not talking about a huge physical transformation because I did not have one at all. You know, I just had a coach today, like, I don't have a before and after, so I can't be successful. I'm like, neither did I. I never had a before and after. The picture I posted today was from when I was 21. I didn't have a before and after, but I came back to freaking life. My words were different. What I was sharing, my excitement, my fire, my dreams for where I wanted to go. Like I was on freaking fire. And I had people like, dude, whatever you're on or whatever you're doing, I need to do that. And that's what started to happen with my challengers. So, you know, I had a lot of moms that just like lost the 10 pounds that they had put on, you know, and couldn't take off after kids. And their friends were coming to them going like, girl, what are you doing? I want to do it too. And so I'm having a conversation with them saying, why aren't you coaching? Their friends are coming to them saying, I want to do this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not going to sign up your friends. Let's just convert you to a coach. Help me in the challenge group. This will be super fun. And, you know, and so they started Hit Success Club because their friends were coming to them too. And they started to do training. So they started to invite as well. That has to be a two-way street. If you have some type of inner outer transformation when you come into Beachbody, people are going to come to you as you're going to them. And now don't get me wrong. People are not going to beat down your door. I invite every single day. No one messages me. I thought that would happen as a top 10 coach. Guess what? It doesn't. At least for me, because I've always built through my warm market. I am not like Insta famous. I don't have this huge social media following. I mean, I became number 5 in the company. I had 3,500 followers on Instagram. and I'd never sent a message on Instagram either. And so I wasn't Insta famous, and so at the end of my first full year, a year and a half into coaching, I was a 7-star. And I felt like a failure. I was like, well, that sucked. I just tried to help 40, 50 people that said they wanted to be a Beachbody coach, and only 7 of them stuck around. I was naive, and I just put my head down and did the work. I never knew what other people were doing in the company at all. I still don't even know who's ranked in the top 10 right now. Like, I just don't pay attention to that stuff because I'm freaking busy. And what does it matter? And so people started to ask me, though, like corporate was like, Moira, your first full year in the business and you rank against 7 diamonds. Like, how did that happen? And I was like, that's good. Like, my ratio is pretty bad, And so what I did is I looked at those 7 coaches and I was like, all right, I had 50 people come to me, or I recruited 50 coaches over the year, and 7 of them are diamonds and stuck around. And 43 of them failed or quit or are inactive or whatever. And I was like, so what's different about these 7? What was different about those 7 is their life changed when they came into the challenge group and they came into the community of Beachbody and they started reading personal development. That's what was different, because those 7 diamonds, who are still my 7 of my diamonds, are the furthest thing from anything you would ever think would make a successful Beachbody coach. They are insecure. They don't like to be on camera. They hate posting on social media. They're really soft-spoken. They're not in perfect shape. They are my first 7 diamonds, and they are still with me because they will never leave what changed their life forever. And we became a really tight-knit community because I ran my challenge group with all those girls. We were like talking every single night, like, oh my God, let's do a contest. Oh my God, will you share this recipe? Oh my God, I just ate this for dinner. I'm going to share this recipe. Like, we were just like, it was what it should be. We were having so much fun. And then we were like getting together to like learn this business and mastermind and figure all these things out together. I had other people that you would think would be like, oh my God, she's going to be my next diamond. Watch her go. Oh, guess what? Nothing happened. It happens all the time. To me, all the time. It is not about what you come in here with. It is when you make a decision to actually change your life that your business will change. How cool is that, you guys? Oh, the better I take care of myself, the more personal development I read, the more I dial in my workouts and take care of myself with food, I'm going to have a successful business. Like, who gets to do that in what job? It's awesome. And so here's something that's really important to know, and I think you guys will totally appreciate this, because I can be like, get real fiery when I talk because I'm super passionate about this. This is the reality of how I have built. I usually hit Success Club 30 to 50. I got to number 5 in the company by recruiting an average of 10 coaches last year. An average of 10 coaches a month. There were months where I recruited 4 coaches last year. 4. Now, will I suggest that? No, that is not good. You have to recruit at least 5 coaches a month, or you're going to work in reverse. You'll have people drop from the bottom of the bucket before you can fill it, and you'll work in reverse. You have to recruit 5, or this business is going to suck for you. And I didn't do that like in month 1, 2, 3, 4, but I got to a point where I got that momentum going. But I recruited, and I am so proud of that, you guys. Like, I am so proud of having such a tiny team that is crushing it. But I thought about it even today, because the competition is fierce right now in Beachbody. I mean, people are putting up Success Club 100, 200. Like, that was never a thing a couple years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to figure out how to hit Success Club 100 or 200. I remember one of my first corporate calls, I wanted to push for top 10, and I landed number 7. And my corporate mentor was like, holy smokes, Moira, this is amazing. You're number 7. And I was like, no, it's not. I need to figure out how to recruit 50 coaches a month. And he was like, no, you don't. Stop it. Like, put your blinders on and keep doing what you're doing, because you are mentoring your people, because you have the time to mentor them, and you are teaching them how to grow. It's something I have to talk myself out of almost every single day, because I can always feel defeated by the number of recruits that I have, because I'm not a high recruiter. So you don't have to hit Success Club 200 and bring on 20, 30 coaches a month or 50 or 60 to be a top 10 coach. And I know enough about this business and I'm involved enough with it. You know, I'm on the coach advisory board, and I flat out told them, like, if that's what top 10's turning into, I don't want to be top 10. Like, I know enough about myself at this point in the game that, you know, I will fade out of top 10 if I need to and just keep building my business, you know, because rank doesn't equal income. And I say that I'm not the coach that's going to be like rank. A lot of people are like, rank doesn't dictate income or whatever. And like a lot of people say that because they're not top 10 coaches or they're not ranked high. And it's their way of just like, you know, not feeling bad about themselves. I mean, I totally admit that, because last year in the beginning of the year, I was like, I don't think I want to go for top 10 and sacrifice my whole entire life and never spend a moment with my children. And I'm like, yeah, Moira, that's fear that you can't make top 10. Like, check yourself and realize that maybe you don't have to do that to be a top 10 coach. Did I work harder than I've ever worked in my life last year? Yes. Am I still working harder than I've ever worked in my life? Yes. Because I've also told my team that I don't want to stand on that stage and represent my team and be a top 10 coach and think it was easy. I want to stand up there and realize and know that it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and I freaking deserve to stand on that stage. But I rank advanced more leaders in the business than most any coach, and more than almost Melanie Mitro last year. So that's like the whole point system is I crushed it with developing leaders, and my numbers were down here for Success Club and recruits. And that's where I'm at this year. You know, right now we're ranked number 11. And the only reason we're ranked number 11 is because I develop my leaders and I do really well with that. So I hope that helps, like, talk about kind of how I've developed my team. You know, I think we'll have like 5 elite coaches on my team this year, which is crazy for a coach that's recruiting 10 coaches a month.
That's amazing. I actually was just talking to one of my coaches today. She's still an Emerald coach, but she was talking about, you know, wanting to get those coaches to work, the coaches that she does have. And I had a very similar story. I think I had my first 20 coaches like just quit and all that. They're not here as much anymore. But I wanted to know how did you develop those leaders? And like, I mean, most of the people on this call are, you know, Emerald or maybe pushing for Diamond, or not, or just coaching right now. And so how did you develop those leaders, and how did you, you know, show them that it's just it's a decision, you know?
Yeah. So I'll tell you exactly what I did in the beginning and what I think every single new coach should be doing, and what we don't talk enough about in the business, and what I continue to do, even though I'm so much busier. So I started in July. And in January, I had that crop of like 7 challengers turned coaches that were like getting their friends on board. Like, that was where I was at in my business. You know, I didn't have any diamonds, maybe a couple emeralds. And I was like, okay, you guys, let's set up weekly calls. Every single week, I want to talk to everybody one-on-one. And I remember that clear as day. I can remember like going to walk my dog it was 9:00 and I had to talk to Maggie, and I'd call Maggie and Maggie would be like, oh my God, I totally forgot about our call. And I'd get frustrated and I'd be like, that's okay. You know, and she'd be like, oh, I haven't done anything since we talked last. And I would just meet her there and I'd be like, that's all right. Like, I never put pressure, but I always planted a seed. I'm like, girl, no worries. Like, but you know, have you signed up your husband yet? Have you talked to your friend that we talked about last week? Like, what about her? Like, I always just inch them forward. And if I had not done weekly calls with all 7 of them, I can 100% guarantee you they never would have went diamond, and they would not be coaching today. Every single week I invested time, a lot of time with my coaches. We got together. A lot of them live in town, so we would get together a lot of times to like meet for coffee and work for a couple hours. Like, I created community. You know, you can do that online with a Zoom call. Like, but I gave them my time. And I think the difference is when you build a real relationship with somebody, they're not going to fall away because they don't want to leave the nest, you know, that you've built and you've created. And a lot of my coaches have said that, like, gosh, Moira, you come into this, like, you can never leave because like, we're all like best friends. You know, this is my support system. This is my family. This is everything in this team. And so they don't want to leave that, but they also don't want to let you down. You know, it's like I had one diamond fall, and she was the one coach that like I never really connected with. We never built a relationship. It was really easy for her to just decide to give up coaching because she gave up coaching and she didn't lose anything. If my coaches gave up diamond, or my diamond coaches gave up coaching right now, they would lose like their entire life because their life is this team, you know? So really creating that culture and that community, I think, is super important, and doing one-on-one calls. I mean, if you've got 2 emeralds or 1 emerald or 2 coaches thinking about working the business, you should talk to them every single week. Every single week.
Okay. Yeah. We have I think a lot of people have the question of how do you get those engaged challengers as coaches? Because I have done a lot of groups, and some are really engaged and amazing, and then some are like really slow, like the one I have going on right now. How do you get that engagement and like getting them really just to turn into coaches?
Yeah, I don't think I'm great at challenge groups. Like, I don't think it's my strong suit. I think I'm really good at developing coaches. And so one thing that I think is important, like I was just looking in the wall or the round table where like a bunch of these legend coaches, they're like, you know, Christina Delgado was just like, I have so many coaches that are like an emerald away from diamond. I have 7 girls that are this close to diamond. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I have the exact same thing. Like, we all have the exact same thing. I have my challenge group like does this constantly. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think that, and that's the comparison game. Like, people think like, oh, you're doing something magically different. My numbers are still the same. You know, like my ratios are probably the exact same as every single person on this call. I just talk to more people. And so I may plant the seed with challengers again and again and again and again and again. But if you have 1 or 2 of them come on board a year and start hitting Success Club, that's huge. Mm-hmm. You know, it's huge. But I think it comes from that personal conversation more than anything, and speaking that belief. And I think that's something we forget. Like, we understand that we have to invite a challenger, and we may have to invite them 10 times before they say yes, right? But we forget that that's what we need to do with our current challengers about coaching. Like, we may talk to them about coaching, they're not interested, and we never talk to them about it again. If they were anything like me, and this is to me, I was a fitness professional, and I thought I could never be a coach because I thought I was so like less than. So like, what are our challengers thinking? You know, our challengers are thinking like, are you crazy? Like, what challenger is going to be like, that's a great idea, I'm ready, let's do this. You know, like, no one's going to say that. You're going to have to talk to them and talk to them again and talk to them again, and just keep building that belief and let them think about it when you're not talking, and then circle back and let them think about it more. You know, so it's not like I have challengers converting to coaches left and right at all.
Yeah. Do you go back to old challengers, like old previous?
Yeah, if I have time. I mean, I wish I had more time, you know, that would be a super smart thing to do, but I probably don't do it enough, you know? I probably don't do it enough. Yeah.
What do you personally, or have you personally said to people who say the price is too high? Okay, like all the objections as we all get.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I say when the price is too high, kind of 3 different things. I say, like, grab some friends and get them to do it with you. Your costs will be covered. Or like, girl, why aren't you coaching with me? If money's that big of an issue, you should totally coach. You know, so I instantly think about coaching for them. And then the more organic thing is like, I totally get that it seems like a lot of money, but like, have you broken this down? Because it's like pennies a day. And, you know, you just share your story. Like, I save money by not going out to eat as much, by not buying as many groceries, by not throwing out as many groceries. Like, I literally save money by doing this, you know? And so you just have to have those conversations with them.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I get the same thing every day. I probably had 8 people today tell me no because of a financial objection.
How many challengers / invites do you do a day, or coaches? I know it's a hard question, but it
is a hard question, especially nowadays, because I feel like it's all over the place. But my thing was always, when I started to like go all in, I remember that first year I was like, I'm going to invite 300 people a month. And I was inviting 300 people a month. And a lot of that was follow-ups too. It wasn't new challengers, but it was follow-ups too. And I was always bringing new people and inviting new people. And then about a year ago, I was like 100 just straight up challenge group invites. and then I would hit Success Club 10 or whatever, and then I would, let the rest be organic. Like I would sit down on the first Monday of every single month and invite 25, like that was my 100% non-negotiable. I'd invite 25 people a day, Monday through Thursday, got my 100 invites in. I would hit Success Club from that. And then the rest of the month, if follow-ups came in or if conversations happened on Facebook, like it was more organic the last 3 weeks. And I also switched my focus to inviting more to the coach opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I got skipped. Hey, Moira. So you're talking about like when it really clicked for you and really going all in and doing the YouTube and the trainings and the coach office and inviting. Versus a lot of my coaches, they work full-time jobs. So I want to be realistic to them and saying like, when I'm talking to people, sometimes I say you could spend as little as 30 minutes a day, which may be true. But if I want them to really like see success, what realistically, like what number of hours are my coaches who work full-time jobs spending to get there?
That's a great question. And I think the thing that I try to explain to those people that are working, we have a lot of great coaches within my team that are working coaches. So I kind of go talk to them. But the reality is this, you have to 1 hour a day, 100% inviting. You have as many conversations as you possibly can in 1 hour a day, whether you're inviting or following up, as many conversations as you can have. So if you can probably have, my guess would be you could have 25 to 40 conversations in 1 hour a day, right? And then the rest becomes like when you can fit it in. Try to catch the team call recording when you're driving to work. Try to, make sure you're reading your PD and all that stuff. But like get in the training when you can. Like inviting is all that matters. Like conversation and building relationships is all that matters. So I think a big mistake that people make is they call it a power hour and like they make pretty graphics in their power hour. Like a power hour should only be conversations, 100% as many conversations as you can, beating the clock for 60 minutes. And you will crush your business if you do that 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Do you ever do cold invites, and how do you decipher whether you're inviting to coaching or challenges?
So it's hard because like I will say that the 3 years that I've been in the business, I 100% built from my warm market. And I didn't think I had a market when I got here. I had the same thing, like, I don't know many people. And then I got to number 5 in the company with that warm market that I supposedly didn't have. And when I say warm market, like this is exactly what I did for 3 years. Say Jamie was a awesome friend of mine who like, I loved her vibe. We were really good friends. She wasn't a coach. I would go to Jamie's Facebook list and add 40 people from Jamie's list because her people are my people, right? That's not cold market to me. And it's really super easy for me to be like, oh my God, girl, how do you know Jamie Glassman? I know her, like we went to school together, or we did this. Like that's such a real way to start a conversation and to build your market. And so I never did cold market until like I hit the wall with my warm market. But you guys, and so this is important. I didn't think I had, many people to talk to. And 3 years into the business, hitting SC 40 or 50, that's when I ran out of my cold market. 3 years in, SC 40 to 50 every single month. So we could do the math on like how many people that is that I actually signed up in that time. But you have way more people than you think because you are constantly expanding your warm market. I think I hate the term cold market, but like I'm just now jumping onto Instagram. And the only way I invite now from cold market is I invite people for my stories. Like if they're watching every facet of my life, then they're not cold market. It's not weird for me to be like, girl, you should totally jump into my boot camp. Thanks for watching my stories. Something super simple. So that would be a cold market invite, but I don't consider people watching my stories cold market.
Yeah. I love the like friends of friends because I honestly don't do that, but that's a really, like going to someone's page that you're friends with and checking all them out. And
because it's such an easy way there's trust already built into the relationship. I was doing a power hour one time, walking my team through that. And it's like this ongoing joke that one of my elite coaches got on one of her diamonds that like built a diamond in 30 days. She's like, because I swiped my best friend's friends. she did that exact thing, you know? And it's so easy to be like, oh my God, how do you know Jamie? Like, you've got this friend in common that you both love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? I just first off want to say thank you for, I guess, even just saying that you have hustled for 3 years to get where you are, because I feel like people have asked me like why I'm successful right now. And I'm like, because I'm working really damn hard. And I feel like that's not talked about enough, because it's like, people just think like invite a couple people. And like, you know, I don't know if that's like the way we think about, you know, training our coaches, or just like kind of underestimating the hard work that needs to go into being successful, really successful very quickly. I mean, 3 years from what you've built is very quickly.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
and that's the thing, like, that's one thing I talk to my team a lot about, like, define hard, because there are days when like I can't see straight and I want to cry because I'm so overworked. And even still, like, I'll go to my husband and be like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, it's so much. It's like, I can't. And I'm like, wait a second. We're going to make $1 million next year from being a freaking Beachbody coach. Am I really working that hard? How about I hire a freaking assistant? Like, this is not that hard. And, you know, I always make the joke, like, I'm at home drinking Shakeology, petting my golden retriever, and inviting, like, on my computer. Like, how hard is that? I'm not digging trenches and cleaning toilets and working 16 hours a day in the heat. Like, it's pathetic what we think is hard this day and age. Pathetic. So, like, we got to redefine what we think is too hard, you know?
Totally. I love that. Tough love. Because it's so true. Like, people not answering, you know, like just sending more and more invites. Like, that's just not hard. It's like a little more time consuming. And I think, you know, you talk so much about mindset. I think I've watched so many of your YouTubes about mindset, and it's something that I'm really trying to just instill in my coaches, because that is something that I think all new coaches need to work on coming in. And I feel like just
everything. Mindset will determine whether or not you're successful. There's a really great image if you Google fixed mindset versus growth mindset. You can like Google it and share the image in your team page. And I really realized, I shared it in my challenge group this week, like how I 100% had a fixed mindset when I came into coaching, and now I 100% have a growth mindset. And if you don't have every single check mark in the growth mindset category, you will not be a top coach. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to be in that growth mindset. So if you just Google that and look at images, you'll find it.
I love that. You guys, does anyone have any last minute questions before we let her go?
Rachel asked a good question, I think, up in the chat.
I think we answered that. Shift conversations.
Okay.
I think we did. She said something about just deciphering between coaches, how you invite to coaching and how you invite.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of times, and it's because I have a fitness professional background. So like, if I see something like that, I'm like, girl, are you a coach too? Or have you ever thought about doing what I do? You know, like, and they're like, what do you do? You know? And so it's more organic that way. I definitely like hardcore invite to the challenge group more than I do the coach opportunity.
Because those turn into, I think, I mean, I even say that you have to start everyone off in a challenge group no matter what, even if they sign up right away as a coach. So I think if they're even a little bit interested in coaching, everyone has to start in the same place, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But if they shut you down, how do you change conversations to challenges? Do you back off if people shut you down or don't answer? I guess that's
about coaching. No, I continue the conversation. I continue the friendship, which is really key. So I am not a beat around the bush type of girl. I don't think Jamie is either. So for instance, like, I will find you on Instagram and ask you if you've ever thought about coaching. And then you might be like, oh God, Beachbody coach, spam, you know, whatever. And I will continue to have a relationship with you. And so I think that's way better than I'm like, girl, here I am. I'm just going to cut to the chase. Like, why aren't you doing what I'm doing? It's ridiculously awesome. And then continue to have a friendship with you, which is going to build trust. And then that's going to come back up. It's going to come back up in our friendship, you know? Yeah. I think one mistake people make is like they invite, like there's not a relationship being built up between follow-ups. You know, like I'll see if I have followed up and invited somebody 2 or 3 times without a response, I go to their page and I just send them a message. Nothing about a challenge group, nothing about coaching. You know, you just got to build a relationship.
Yeah. I think that that's a huge thing that people do is they invite and then, you know, run away. Like I will say some of the top coaches here, I feel like I invited 100 times, but also was just kind of checking in on them. And so I think that's super, super important. Like keeping that open relationship going. And
for sure.
No, it's not just like, okay, goodbye. Like,
yeah. Awesome. All right, I gotta hop off because I have a 9 o'clock with a couple of my coaches. So
I'm gonna message you and hopefully we can chat next week.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna love you
so much. Seriously, you are awesome. Can I get a really quick picture?
Yeah.
Okay, it'll be really quick.
I should do the same. All right, you take it and then send it to me, will you?
Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I will send it to you. All right. Thank you guys for hopping on.
All right. Bye, guys.
To stay on. If my team wants to stay on, you guys can all stay on. We can chat for a second. Megan's team, you guys can hop off if you want. I just wanted to kind of make some announcements for our team. I think everyone hopefully is on our team. Hi, you guys. You guys can unmute if you want. I would just like to like open up and chat a little bit. I really see her community and the coaches like that she has built. They are like so close. And I really want all of us to like mingle more, whether you're my personally sponsored coaches or Mallory's or Danielle's or whoever. Is like, we are a team. We are going to build this thing to where Moira has taken her business together. So I really would like love any ideas, or if you guys want to like work together or however you think we can make this team bigger and better, I'm all ears. Like I really want everyone to feel like a leader in their own, you know, in their own business. And so any ideas that you guys have to like create that, or I know time is obviously everyone's busy and stuff, but like,
so I don't know necessarily how to build the collective team, but I think when the girls in New York, when we went to the Rachel Hollis movie, it was so great being with each other and doing something like that. So I think what I'd like to do is once a month, the girls that we grow in New York or that are willing to come, we're going to do something, whether it be like escape the room, or Nicole is also a yoga teacher, so go take her yoga class, or
you guys, I mean, you should have your own like New York chat, and you guys should all do that. I don't think I have anyone in LA.
Yeah, like that community together. I know it's really someone's.
Is someone watching TV or something? I like can't hear
I think it just stopped. I don't know what that was. I think it just stopped.
Okay.
So I just really want us to like take advantage of the fact that we're all together and do something that's going to like be mindset shifting. So
Danielle, how about you make like an announcement in the team page, whoever is in New York, and maybe you guys can all like get in a group and just talk about dates and stuff. Cause like, I wish I could be there more than anything. I wish I had anyone in LA. So if there's any coaches in here that are anywhere near LA, I would love to meet up. Or even Chicago, wherever you guys are, like maybe we can start a thread of just like where everyone's from or where they live. Just, I don't know if everyone knows that, but just collaborate. Cause I think just like getting coffee together, I will be in New York in October. I'll announce the date and hopefully we can all get dinner, for whoever's there. But also what do I want to say? Something. Oh, me and Mallory are going to do a sneak peek tomorrow into coaching. You guys are all more than welcome to invite and bring people in. I really haven't run a lot of them, and that's what every coach is doing, running a million sneak peeks. So I just want to like start because it's one of those things I've been thinking about 100 times, and I'm like waiting for it to be perfect and waiting for everything to like, but just like, I'm going to just do it. And like, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if we might have 3 people in it, but if you want to just start inviting and say like, you know, me and my team are running a sneak peek into coaching where a couple of my teammates are going to be explaining like, you know, what we do as coaches. You guys are more than welcome to dump them into our group. If you want to collaborate with people in this group and like run your one together, it's good to do them like every other week, just because it's like, you don't need to just announce on social media and expect everyone to understand what we do. But if we can like get people into a group collectively and just let it all out there, you know, everything from financial and what we do as coaches and just everything. So you guys are more than welcome to do that and dump people into our group. I will post the Facebook page tomorrow or later, but it's going to be at 6 p.m. We're just going to go in live and just share. Like, you know, we did one with like 5 of the leaders on this team, which I think for me, it just felt like a lot of people, a lot of conversations, a lot of things happening. So I was trying to just, okay, let's see if we can just see what works and if this works. So I'm just trying a million different things. Like I'm really open to hearing different ideas and what you guys want to do. for Thanksgiving, I'm going to be doing like a little, for my own town, going to be doing like a little workout class and teaching people like what I like the workouts and providing shakes and energize, just to, you know, start thinking about those like little things that you could maybe even do within your own community, bringing shakes with you places, handing that stuff out. Like, I feel like that stuff is all really good. Just to like market and, you know, those are just
Also, for the sneak peek page, feel free to reach out to your challengers, like everybody. I was actually going to post about it in my challenge group tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's honestly really low key. And then also for my stories, I've been using polls about this, because when I say like, message me if you want to be added and stuff, like no one really does that, because I think they're scared and they don't believe that coaching can be something that they can do. And so just put like a poll and just say, hey, add me, or I'm interested or curious, because a lot more girls, you know, vote on